Hello everyone, this is Money Mom. Welcome to the channel. People simply don't want to change. Let's get started and talk about it. How many of you guys have wanted other people to change bad behavior or behavior that you feel is not wise, such as overspending? And how many of you guys have had people try to change you and some of the things you do? Let's get right into it. I know I have been on both ends of the spectrum, and I know it can be really frustrating when there may be folks in our life that we really care about, and maybe you see them going down a path you don't want to see. Great example, let's get into budgeting. I've seen many comments on many channels, not just my channel, and this is over the years, where their people are feeling really frustrated because they've budgeted and made good decisions themselves, but they may have a family member that way overspends, is always in a jam, always asking to borrow money, and it causes this other person a lot of stress in their life. And I totally understand what that means. You know, this is a thing that I'm noticing more and more, is that we can't change other people. And I notice there's things in my life, and I've been changing things, that we don't even want to change ourselves. I've said this before, we're comfortable in our discomfort. And I've heard this before, this saying before by Tony Robbins. Change happens when the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change. That kind of happened with me. That's why I finally lost, 50 pounds, which I need to lose more, because I was in so much physical pain. The idea of staying that same weight and even getting larger was more pain than actually having to make an actual change. And so I know many people get frustrated with loved ones around them, that they want to save more money, get out of a bad relationship, also maybe eating healthier. I've seen sometimes when I do product demos, I've seen people try to encourage their spouse to eat healthier, and the doctor says I shouldn't eat sugar, things like that, and their spouse is trying to encourage them, and they don't want to listen, they want to do things their way, and it is really challenging. I've actually even gone and I've had people ask me for advice, and I've asked people for advice, and then you don't take that advice because you just want to vent. I've actually, and this is a confession to you guys I want to share, I've actually used to vent about certain situations in my life that I was really frustrated about. And I've actually had a couple friends tell me directly, hey, you're always bringing this up. I've already given you my advice. This is just repetitive. Don't bring this topic up again. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I've actually had friends tell me that over the years. Hard to hear, but you know what? I was draining them. And maybe other people have done the same to you. I mean, I'm a human being. I've improved on some of those areas, but I've kind of noticed that. So when there's an area in our life or other people's lives and we see them going down the wrong path, we can't change them. We just have to just let them go and just control our behavior. It's all we can do. I wrote down a few tips, and these are things I'm working on doing in my life. First of all, the best thing we can do is lead by example. So say if you have a friend that you see is overspending and they're complaining about their finances and things like that, you know what? Just lead by example and then tell them, let's segue over to another topic. I mean, you could even tell them, hey, this is something that comes up all the time. I've already given you my advice. Let's move on to something else. Okay, the next thing is you can express concern, but then put the ball in their court. Say, this is my advice. I've already shared it with you. Here's some tips and tricks. I'm putting the ball in your court now for you to take over, rather than you always repeating yourself and trying to help. And the last is, and this is my biggest takeaway, looking on improving ourselves and what can we do to improve ourselves rather than concentrating on other people. I know that I can tend to sometimes be controlling myself. I try to take over. I try to kind of mother other people and do things for them rather than allowing them to figure out things on their own. And even Mel Robbins said this too. She said, when we try to control others, even if we're doing it from a good heart, we think we're being well-meaning, what ends up happening is that people end up resenting us. So this doesn't mean that we shouldn't take care of ourselves and that we should just allow others to walk on us, because we get drained too. We need to protect ourselves and our energy, especially if people are coming to us with the same problems over and over again. It's okay to say, hey, this is a topic I don't want to go. We've already been over it. There's nothing else to discuss on it. I'm putting the ball in your court for you to handle it, however you want to say. And it's hard to do that. Hey, I've been on the receiving and the giving end of this. So I want to kind of hear from you guys. How do you handle this situation? Either from if you feel like you have a problem and you kind of feel like it's repetitive, or if you feel like you've tried to help family or friends with something and you don't see it going anywhere. What are some tips and tricks where you don't feel you're controlling, but you can be an encouraging person too? I want to hear from you in the comments below. That's all I have to say for now. Love you, appreciate you, and I sure hope to see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.